Today we're going to be talking about some must-own blue fragrances that I think are still worth purchasing here in 2025. I think everybody should have some sort of blue fragrance in their collection, or maybe a select couple if you want. And for those of you who don't know what a blue fragrance is, we're basically talking fragrances with a strong focus on ambroxan or ambergris. So they do kind of have a blue, soapy, almost shower gel type of freshness that you'll find pretty common across the board. Now, there are going to be different levels and different degrees of this, and each blue scent, for the most part, is going to have a bit of a different twist, but the core idea remains the same. We're talking about ultra versatile, fresh, soapy, clean fragrances that are just going to be big mass pleasers as well. It's a very popular DNA, made popular by Bleu de Chanel and Dior Sauvage. Those two fragrance lineups really kick this trend off. Now, for the sake of this video, those two are not in here. Now, you could easily go for a Bleu de Chanel EDP or Sauvage EDT EDP, but we're going for some different ones today. I'm keeping it pretty simple though. We only have a couple that we're going to be going over, but I'm going to drop links to them down below in the description. If you want to do some purchasing below retail, hit those links up and then you'll be able to see the prices that we talk about in this video. We're going to actually kick things off with Armani Acqua di Gio Profondo. Now, this is the EDP 2024 version. So I believe that the original Profondo was an eau de parfum. However, they didn't really market it that way. The bottle looked different. It was frosted all the way through. It was the 2020 release that I'm talking about. This is the updated 2024. They list off eau de parfum down here at the bottom. You've got a bit of a different gradient in the frosted glass where it kind of goes down to clear. I mention this because more than likely this is what you're going to buy now, although there are still bottles of the 2020 version out there as well. This is 100 ml. The 2020 came in 120 or 125. Now, this is going to be a nice oceanic mineral notes based scent with some of that ambergris or ambroxan more likely listed in here as well. So it's oceanic, it's fresh, it's cooling, it smells like just the water. It smells like a vacation. It smells refreshing and clean, but at the same time, it has this powerful type of oceanic smell, which I absolutely love. It's such a unique take on an aquatic scent. Now, in terms of differences between this and the 2020 version, there really aren't any. They've just updated the bottle and kind of the name to make room for the fact that they produced a Parfum flanker and an eau de toilette flanker. So they kind of had to adjust things so that way you could tell which one was which. Obviously, this one being kind of in the middle as the eau de parfum. The only other nice thing about this is that it's actually a really good performer. Maybe that's a bit uncommon with aquatic fragrances. Now, as far as the Acqua di Gio flankers go, for the most part, they're all pretty good performers. I'm talking Profumo, the EDP, Essenza way back in the day, which is kind of getting far out there. But for the most part, their flanker releases have been pretty good performers. But when you get into some other aquatics, maybe some cheaper ones, they're usually pretty weak. Not the case here. Nice, fresh, unique blue scent with just an oceanic summer vacation type of smell and personality to it. Pretty much everybody has this for the most part, I would say. But if you don't, to me, this is kind of a staple. This is kind of a must-have. Again, been out for going on 6 years now, but man, you really should have something like this in your collection. This next one is Polo Deep Blue Parfum version. So not to be confused with Polo Blue Parfum. There is a difference. Polo Blue Parfum maybe could be in this video as well. It does use an ambroxan, I believe, maybe. But what that one does is it takes the OG Polo Blue smell, adds more of like an oak masculine to it, and makes it a true parfum, amps up that OG Polo Blue smell with a bit of a modernized twist is how I look at it. Polo Blue Parfum is actually a really, really good fragrance on its own. But Deep Blue Parfum in particular, this is going to be more blue fragrance smelling in the traditional sense that we're trying to talk about for this video, where it's basically making ambroxan kind of the front and center here. This one has sea notes, mango, and ambroxan. So that's one thing. The Polo lineup in general will use that mango note. I mean, they even used it, I believe, back in Polo Double Black, was it? Where it has the coffee and mango, or maybe it's just Polo Black. I don't know, I'd have to look, but they've done some interesting things with that note in particular. It's popping up here. It fits into this type of smell more because of the aquatic, oceanic type of smell, and then this kind of tropical fruitiness. And then again, a ton of ambroxan going along with that as well. It smells really, really nice. This is, of course, a blue scent, and it's a common smelling DNA, but this one in particular is actually, I don't know, a little bit unique as well. It kind of stands out compared to your Sauvage Bleu de Chanel style of blue scent. The other nice thing about this is I think you're usually looking at somewhere around $40 to $50, and this is I believe it's a 125 milliliter. You're going to be in that $40 to $50 range. So really reasonable, especially for a blue scent, which sometimes they can get into the much pricier end of things. This is also a really good performer as well, not only in terms of projection, but also longevity too. And of course, this is kind of standard, but yet another great compliment Polar. People love how it smells, and incredibly versatile. Pretty much any situation, any time of the year you can wear this one for, which is just nice. It takes all of the guesswork out of it. This next one is going to be on the more affordable end as well. About the same price point, usually around $40, 100 milliliter, 3.3 ounce. It is Azzaro Chrome Parfum. This one has fir resin, bergamot, and some sage in here as well. So you really get pretty far away from that original chrome smell, that metallic, fresh, you know, citrusy type of smell that chrome is known for. You're getting far away from that. Instead, you're getting more into the modern blue fragrance slash aromatic type of smell. So you saw it, the fir resin and just those type of aromatic notes. It's being used a lot these days. Anything from, you know, the YSL Y series, Ralph's Club, and many more that are using that type of aromatic package with some sort of ambroxan or ambergris or amber in general. This is kind of what that one is doing as well. So that sage is giving it that aromatic freshness as well. Nice bergamot off the opening, giving it a bit of a bright, fresh opening. And then they don't list it here because they're only giving us 3 notes to kind of narrow in on, but you can tell there's some sort of amber wood, ambergris in here. That's, you know, pretty prevalent. It's definitely not hiding. And you could tell what they were trying to do with this. They're trying to continue working into that blue fragrance DNA. Now, Chrome Extreme is one that I know you're familiar with. That kind of smells a little bit like Acqua di Gio Profondo. So for the sake of redundancy, I didn't put Chrome Extreme in here, but that is an option if you either didn't want to spend the money on Profondo, or you have Profondo, but you want something that smells similar, that's cheaper. So maybe you can save your more expensive bottle if that's something that you want to do. That's an option for you. There's many ways to approach that, but just for the sake of, again, not getting too redundant with anything, Chrome Parfum is the one that I chose instead. Another affordable, good performing blue fragrance with, again, a little bit of a twist. You know, this is a familiar smelling DNA, but that's kind of where it stops. This doesn't smell like anything in particular, really. Sticking with the same price range here. Now, this one's a little bit more classic, a little bit more OG. This is kind of more in line with the popularity levels of Sauvage and, you know, Bleu de Chanel, that sort of thing. But it is Versace Dylan Blue. So definitely nothing, you know, groundbreaking or overly unique here. I guess you could kind of see this one coming. But I wanted to throw it in because of the price point. Less than half the price of Sauvage, Bleu de Chanel, and it doesn't smell like those really because this has much more of a sweetness. Patchouli and incense with a lot of ambergris and some bergamot off the opening, but you know, it is sweeter and kind of smokier than those two. Now, Bleu de Chanel is known for that incense and grapefruit combination. The incense will give it just the hint of a smokiness. This is more smoky. Because of the incense patchouli, it's a sweeter, heavier level of smokiness and sweetness. That being said, I absolutely love Versace Dylan Blue. I think it is truly amazing. Again, this is one that most people have. Why? Well, because it's popular and it smells amazing. It's great performing. It's a big people pleaser. And the barrier to entry is lower because it's more affordable. You know, people who know about discounters know that they can get this for $40 to $50, which is some savings off of retail. And again, way more affordable than a lot of the other designer blue scents out there. So that's why this one has done so well. Just because it's popular doesn't mean that you should immediately write it off and say that, oh, I'm not going to wear it because it is too popular. I just, I don't think that's necessarily the way to go about it. Although, if you feel that way, again, there are some other options in here that people aren't going to be wearing. Chrome Parfum, Polo Deep Blue Parfum. People really aren't going to be wearing those nearly as much as they would something like this. So depending on where you live and how much competition there is in terms of other people wearing fragrances, you can make your adjustments accordingly. But this one is still an amazing scent for the price. This next one is YSL Y Elixir. So I had to feature some sort of YSL Y, it's just kind of like had to do it, but instead of throwing in the EDP, which is very common, my next choice would maybe be the Eau de Parfum Intense or even the new Le Parfum 2025, okay? I love both of those. They're both amazing. I really have become to like this Elixir version, and especially now that the price is more reasonable. When it first came out, it's just kind of like, nope, not gonna, recommend people to go out and buy this at retail. The retail price is just too much for such a small bottle, right? That's just the Elixir way. These Elixirs are smaller bottles for a lot more money. Now, you do get parfums, but still, that's not really a justification for it. The prices come down a lot on this one on discounters to, a cheaper price than Sauvage Elixir, right? A cheaper price, or maybe right around the same as Gucci Guilty Elixir, and I think that it is a really solid release now that you can get it for a price that's not outrageous. This one has geranium, lavender, frankincense, and oud. You're seeing a couple new characters there that you haven't seen in the entire YSL Y lineup, and typically you don't see those notes in blue fragrances in general, so it kind of leaves you scratching your head. Do you pick up on them? A little bit. Not as much as you might think or might hope for, depending on who you are. I personally, I would like to see some more of that frankincense, some more of that oud, amp them up. But I see why they didn't, because this is still a YSL Y. This is still very much a designer release. If they amped up the oud too much, it's going to lose that cool factor that people are looking for, because, people who are, let's just say this, the people who they're marketing this to, they see oud and they're going to be like, oh, that sounds really cool. They're going to smell this and go, oh yeah, that's oud. This is awesome. And they feel cool about it, right? Because that's like out there. Little do they know that, they have no idea what else lies out there in terms of oud fragrances. So if they amped it up too much, they're going to lose their customer base as far as that's concerned. So it makes sense, but you do get a little bit of that smokiness. You do get a little bit of a stronger woody presence from that oud, and it's just enough. It's just enough to make it stand out from the rest of the lineup. And I do like it for that reason. It's a blue fragrance with a heavier twist. It is a really good performer as well. Again, we're talking Parfum concentration here. And, again, I do enjoy it, especially if you don't want to branch out too far from the blue fragrance category, like, for example, Sauvage Elixir does, which is just a huge deviation from that. This one still maintains that safe, approachable, wearable smell with a little bit of a twist. And last up for this video, we're going cheap again, 20 bucks for 100 milliliter, 3 ounce. It is Rasasi Hawas, just the original. Have to specify because at this point there are like, tons of flankers. They've released what? Like 6 this year? Haven't they really? It's been crazy. So, they're doubling down, and that's great because Cobra and Verde are very good. I haven't tried Atlantis, haven't tried... there was another one, I think, as well that I haven't tried yet, but Malibu was okay. But anyway, the original Hawas, this is still 1,000% worth a purchase. Don't get lost and get distracted by all the bright, fancy new releases that they're pumping out and forget about something like the original, because this original, this is still going to be one of the best. Now, don't get me wrong, the new Cobra, the new Verde, they are very, very good. Very impressive, okay? Great quality, everything about them, but it's still hard to beat this OG. The plum, the bergamot, the apple, the C notes, the ambergris, ambroxan more specifically. Everything here comes together to create a high-impact summer base scent that smells like that Invictus Aqua DNA that we know. blue fragrance oriented, fruity, fresh with a little bit of a sweetness, but a bit of a soapy, clean smell as well, and a strong performer. The fact that you can get something like this for $20 is, well, it's pretty amazing because you get something that's super strong and just checks off all the boxes that most people are looking for. Alrighty guys, that's gonna do it for me. Some of the best blue fragrances that you can buy in 2025. Links will be down below. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.